guys, Miss Palmer here. Here for another read aloud again this week. We are going to read another chapter in Charlotte's Web. We are almost done. We have 2 more chapters left. So that means Miss Palmer is going to do this read aloud and 1 more to wrap up the school year so we can finish our book. And then I'm going to read another book for you. Okay, so the chapter that we're on for Charlotte's Web is called The Last Day. And where we just ended was, remember, Wilbur got a special award at the fair for being such a wonderful, awesome pig. Even though he wasn't the biggest pig at the fair, he did win a special award. So everyone was really very excited about that. Charlotte and Wilbur were alone. The families had gone to look for Fern. Templeton was asleep. Wilbur lay resting after the excitement and strain of the ceremony. His medal still hung from his neck. By looking out of the corner of his eye, he could see it. "Charlotte," said Wilbur after a while, "why are you so quiet?" "I like to sit still," she said. "I've always been rather quiet." "Yes, but you seem especially so today. Do you feel all right?" "A little tired, perhaps, but I feel peaceful. Your success in the ring this morning was, to a small degree, my success. Your future is assured. You will live secure and safe, Wilbur. Nothing can harm you now. These autumn days will shorten and grow cold. The leaves will shake loose from the trees and fall. Christmas will come, and then the snows of winter. You will live to enjoy the beauty of the frozen world, for you mean a great deal to the Zuckermans, and he will not harm you ever. Winter will pass, the days will lengthen, the ice will melt in the pasture pond. The song sparrow will return and sing, the frogs will awake, the warm wind will blow again. All of these sights and sounds and smells will be yours to enjoy, Wilbur. This lovely world, these precious days." Charlotte stopped. A moment later, a tear came to Wilbur's eye. "Oh, Charlotte," he said, "to think that when I first met you I thought you were cruel and bloodthirsty." When he recovered from his emotion, he spoke again. "Why did you do all of this for me?" he asked. "I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you." "You've been my friend," replied Charlotte. "That in itself is a tremendous thing. I wove my webs for you because I liked you. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little while, and then we die. A spider's life can't be helped by something of a mess, with all of this trapping and eating flies. By helping you, perhaps I was trying to lift up my life a trifle. Heaven knows life can stand a little of that." "Well," said Wilbur, "I'm no good at making speeches. I haven't got your gift for words, but you've saved me, Charlotte, and I would gladly give my life for you. I really would." "I'm sure you would, and I thank you for your generous sentiments." "Charlotte," said Wilbur, "we're all going home today. The fair is almost over. Won't it be wonderful to go back home in the barn cellar again and sleep with the sheep and the geese? Aren't you anxious to get home?" For a moment Charlotte said nothing. Then she spoke in a voice so low Wilbur could hardly hear the words. "I will not be going back to the barn," she said. Wilbur leaped to his feet. "Not going back?" he cried. "Charlotte, what are you talking about?" "I'm done for," she replied. "In a day or 2 I'll be dead. I haven't even the strength to climb down into the crate. I doubt if I have enough silk in my spinnerets to even lower me to the ground." Hearing this, Wilbur threw himself down in the agony of pain and sorrow. Great sobs racked his body. He heaved and grunted. "Charlotte," he moaned. "Charlotte, my true friend." "Come now, let's not make a scene," said the spider. "Be quiet, Wilbur. Stop thrashing about." "But I can't stand it," shouted Wilbur. "I won't leave you here alone to die. If you're going to stay here, I will stay too." "Don't be ridiculous," said Charlotte. "You can't stay here. Zuckerman and Lurvy and John Arble and the others will be back any minute now, and they'll shove you into that crate and away you'll go. Besides, it wouldn't make any sense for you to stay. There would be no one to feed you. The fairgrounds will soon be empty and deserted." Wilbur was in a panic. He raced round and round the pen. Suddenly he had an idea. He thought of the egg sack and the 514 little spiders that would hatch in the spring. If Charlotte herself was unable to go to the barn, he at least must take her children along. Wilbur rushed to the front of his pen. He put up his front feet on the top board and gazed around. In the distance he saw the Arbles and the Zuckermans approaching. He knew he had to act quickly. "Where's Templeton?" he demanded. "He's in that corner, under the straw asleep," said Charlotte. Wilbur rushed over, pushing his strong snout under the rat and tossing him in the air. "Templeton!" screamed Wilbur. "Pay attention!" The rat, surprised out of his sleep, looked at first dazed, then disgusted. "What kind of monkey shine is this?" he growled. "Can't a rat catch a wink of sleep without being rudely popped in the air?" "Listen to me," cried Wilbur. "Charlotte's very ill. She has a very short time to live. She cannot accompany us home because of her condition. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary that I take her egg sack with me. I can't reach it and I can't climb. You are the only one that can get it. There's not a second to be lost. The people are coming. They'll be here in no time. Please, 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 Templeton, climb up and get that egg sack." The rat yawned. He straightened his whiskers, then he looked up at the egg sack. "So," he said in disgust, "so it's old Templeton to the rescue again, is it? Templeton, do this. Templeton, do that. Templeton, please run to the dump and get a magazine clipping. Templeton, please lend me a piece of string so I can spin a web." "Oh, hurry," said Wilbur. "Hurry up, Templeton." But the rat was in no hurry. He began imitating Wilbur's voice. "So it's hurry up, Templeton, is it?" he said. "Ha ha. And what thanks do I ever get for these services, I would like to know? Never a kind word of old Templeton, only abuse and whisker cracks and side remarks, never a kind word for a rat." "Templeton," said Wilbur in desperation, "if you don't stop talking and get busy, all will be lost and I will die of a broken heart. Please climb." Templeton lay back in the straw. Lazily, he placed his front paws behind his head and crossed his knees in an attitude of complete relaxation. "Die of a broken heart," he mimicked. "How touching. My, I notice it's always you. It's always me you come to when you're in trouble, but I've never heard of anyone's heart breaking on my account. Oh no, who cares anything about old Templeton?" "Get up," screamed Wilbur. "Stop acting like a spoiled child." Templeton grinned and laid still. "Who made trip after trip to that dump?" he said. "Why, it was old Templeton. Who saved Charlotte's life by scaring that Arble boy away with a rotten goose egg? Bless my soul, I believe that was old Templeton, too. Who bit your tail and got you back on your feet this morning after you had fainted in front of the crowd? Old Templeton. Has it ever occurred to you that I'm sick of running errands and doing favors? What do you think I am, anyway, a rat of all work?" Wilbur was desperate. The people were coming and the rat was failing him. Suddenly he remembered Templeton's fondness for food. "Templeton," he said, "I will make you a solemn promise. Get Charlotte's egg sack for me, and from now on I will let you eat first when Lurvy slops me. I will let you have your choice of everything in the trough, and I won't touch a thing until you're through." The rat sat up. "You mean that?" he said. "I promise. I cross my heart." "All right, it's a deal," said the rat. He walked to the wall and started to climb. His stomach was still swollen from last night's gorge. Groaning and complaining, he pulled himself slowly to the ceiling. He crept along till he reached the egg sack. Charlotte moved aside for him. She was dying, but she still had strength to move a little. Then Templeton bared his long, ugly teeth and began snipping the threads that fastened the sack to the ceiling. Wilbur watched from below. "Use extreme care," he said. "I don't want a single one of those eggs harmed." "It's worse than caramel candy," he said, stuffing the egg sack in his mouth. But Templeton worked away at the job and managed to cut the sack adrift and carry it to the ground, where he dropped it in front of Wilbur. Wilbur heaved a great sigh of relief. "Thank you, Templeton," he said. "I will never forget this for as long as I live." "Neither will I," said the rat, picking his teeth. "I felt as though I'd just eaten a spool of thread. Well, home we go." Templeton crept into the crate and buried himself in the straw. He got out of sight just in time. Lurvy and John Arble and Mr. Zuckerman came along at that moment, followed by Mrs. Arble and Mrs. Zuckerman and Avery and Fern. Wilbur had already decided how he would carry the egg sack, and there was only one way possible. He carefully took the little bundle in his mouth and held it there on the top of his tongue. He remembered what Charlotte had told him, that the sack was waterproof and strong. It felt funny on his tongue and made him drool a bit, and of course he couldn't say anything. But as he was being shoved into the crate, he looked up at Charlotte and gave her a wink. She knew he was saying goodbye in that only way that he could, and she knew her children were safe. "Goodbye," she whispered. Then she summoned all her strength and waved one of her front legs at him. She never moved again. Next day, as the Ferris wheel was being taken apart, and the racehorses were being loaded into the vans, and the entertainers were packing up their belongings and driving away in their trailers, Charlotte died. The fairgrounds were soon deserted. The sheds and buildings were empty and forlorn. The infield was littered with bottles and trash. Nobody of the hundreds of people that had visited the fair knew a gray spider had played the most important part of all. No one was with her when she died. So we have one more chapter of this book. That chapter ended a little sadly. I was very sad to see Charlotte go, but we kind of expected that coming once she had laid her eggs, because we know once spiders lay their eggs, they do pass away, because that takes a lot of strength and energy for them. So I was sad to see Charlotte go, but I'm so glad that Wilbur took her little babies with him, and hopefully they will get to live out their life at the barn. So the next story that we're going to read is called Hair Love. If you have not heard of this book, it is so great and so cute and so special. I love this book, so I can't wait to share it with you guys. My name is Zuri, and I have hair that has a mind of its own. It kinks and coils and curls in every which way. Daddy tells me it's beautiful. That makes me proud. I love that my hair lets me be me. In funky braids with beads, I am a princess. And when my hair is in two puffs, I am in the clouds like a superhero. My hair even does magic tricks. One day, Rocky and I were playing outside when along came the rain. From large to small it went, presto, just like that. There is nothing my hair can't do. Today I woke up extra early all by myself. I was too excited to sleep. It's a big day. Daddy was still sleeping. Shh, I said to Rocky as we tiptoed past him. Lately, Daddy has been wore out. He makes me breakfast, takes me to school, goes to work, picks me up, and yesterday we went for a bike ride around the park. I think he needs a break. Because today is special. I want a perfect hairstyle. This calls for a professional's touch. Paws off, Rocky. Crack. Daddy heard the crash. Zuri, what on earth? He asked. I was only trying to help, I said. Daddy smiled. Can I help too? It'll be a piece of cake, Zuri. Zuzu. The first style was a big no way. The second one was no better. No, Daddy. Then Daddy tried slicking my hair back into two puffs. Ouch! Daddy yelled. Wait a minute, Daddy said as he reached in the drawer and pulled out a pick. Ta-da! Daddy, really? I said. I'll be right back, he promised. Now, how's that? He asked, pulling a hat down over my eyes. Daddy, come on, we can do better than that. I really need my hair to be special. Don't worry, he said, we'll figure this out. Then I had a great idea. Daddy gathered all the tools we needed and we were set. Daddy combed, parted, oiled, and twisted. He nailed it. So he's watching a video to help him. Funky puff buns, pretty, and so much fun. Rocky approved too. I put on my superhero cape as the final touch for the perfect look. Where's my Zuzu? Mommy called from the door. She could not get in the house fast enough. Mommy! You've got to be the prettiest Supergirl I've ever seen," she said. "And your hair is beautiful, Zuri. Who did it?" I looked at Daddy and beamed. Mommy smiled. "Very nice." "Thank you. We learned from the best," Daddy said as he gave her a big hug. My hair is Mommy, Daddy, and me. It's hair love. I love this book. I think it is so cute, and I love that even though it got hard trying to give her the perfect hairdo, and Daddy was trying his best, but it was hard, that they didn't give up. They kept pushing through and kept working together and trying, and then she ended up with the perfect hair for Mommy's return home. So I hope you all liked my books this week. Check in again next week for our last chapter of Charlotte's Web. Bye!